name is Felicia Wright, and this is the Go Rogue podcast. Do you feel stuck? Does every day feel like Groundhog's Day? Well, I'm here to tell you it's time to take charge of your life and know that you are meant for more than this. It's time to go rogue. This podcast is for people that are ready to say enough is enough and discover their new normal with entrepreneurship. Get ready because your rogue journey starts now. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the Go Rogue podcast. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about making decisions and keeping your commitments. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to give you a heads up. I am here with my babies today, and you might hear some babies in the background, but that's okay because we're going to push through and keep it going. So today I want to talk about indecision. So it's so easy to have trouble making decisions. And here's why. In business, especially when you get in the online space, you're going to see all these things, different tools, different strategies, different branding, people doing things differently. And then you just become overwhelmed with all this stuff. And then it's just so hard to make a decision on what direction really to go in, because you see one thing and then you're like, oh, well, that looks like the right thing, and then you see another thing, it's like, oh, that looks like the right thing, and then you just turn into like, well, what is the right thing? And you can just get caught up in constantly feeling like you have to learn something new, but that's not the case. So let's talk about that. So honestly, indecision comes from a lack of clarity and a lack of confidence. So the lack of confidence, you start to feel like, well, maybe what I thought isn't good enough, or it's not as good as the next person. And you have to get over that and really start to think about how you're feeling about the decisions that you are trying to make, and just be confident in what you're doing. Because to be honest, everything that you do is not going to be perfect. Everything you do is not going to be a home run. Actually, a lot of it is not going to be a home run, but that's okay, because the learning that you will gain from actually taking action is really what's going to propel you forward. I've got to tell you, I learn the quickest when I implement things, when I try things, when I'm getting my hands dirty and doing it. And that's when I learn, and I learn the best. If I just watch a video or a training or YouTube, I love YouTube. I learn it, but it's just not the same. It's not concrete. So once I start doing things, that's when I learn. So when you get caught up in the lack of decision and not really implementing anything, that's where you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. And this actually leads to getting nothing done in your business or whatever you're trying to do. I've been caught up in that so many different times, where the lack of clarity, I'm just like, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything. Or I don't know what to do, I'm going to watch Netflix instead. Who out there loves Netflix? I love Netflix a little too much. But anywho, so if you don't have clarity around what you're doing, you're going to have trouble getting anything done. You're going to find ways to get out of doing the thing. And this is also something that I want to touch on. It's like taking the time to brainstorm. I don't know why, but for me, I have trouble like sitting down brainstorming with paper. I feel like it's a waste of time. I know it's not, and I'm changing my mindset around that. But when you sit down and actually give yourself the space and time to brainstorm, it's incredible what you come up with. So I know personally for me, I've been giving myself time to just flat out brainstorm and to think about things and get creative, because I never gave myself that space before. And it's actually a lot of fun, and some of my ideas feel like they're so crazy, but other ones I'm like, well, this one's not so crazy. This one feels good to me. So just going with the flow and brainstorming really helps you get out of indecision. So if you're having trouble making decisions for your business and keeping some commitments, I want to go over some baby steps with you to get started, so you really start to move the needle, because that's really what we all need to be doing, myself included, is moving the needle, taking those baby steps, and getting to where we want to be. So, the first thing I want you to do is to make a plan of execution. And it doesn't have to be like this big giant business plan, like I know what I'm doing all of 2019. No. If unless you're a planner and you can do that, that's awesome. Go ahead and plan that out. But I personally cannot plan that far in advance. I'm getting better at it, but I don't plan that far in advance. That just sounds crazy town to me. But that's just not where what I'm good at. So if you're good at that, go ahead and plan that out. But if not, make a little plan of execution. So, for example, if you are finding yourself, you're just going day to day, how about you make a daily to-do list? And actually, what I do is I plan out my week. So what you want to do is have a to-do list for the day, three major projects you want to work on for the week, and then some monthly goals. So you want to break things down into monthly, weekly, and daily, and then that will keep you on track. So I always have three major goals for the month, and then I break that down into 4 weeks and how I'm going to execute those three major goals. And then I come up with some daily tasks to execute on those goals. So you see how the baby steps are coming in? Those three major things are essentially broken all the way down into daily things that I can do. So it doesn't feel so scary, right? So when you think about it that way, it's like this giant plan. Say you want to come up with all this content for your email marketing strategy, break it down. First step, sign up for MailChimp. Second step, put in your business information. So you see how like that feels so much easier as opposed to I've got to come up with X amount of content by such and such date. So think about those major projects and break them down. And for me personally, I plan about 2 months in advance right now. I'm working on getting better at it. Again, I'm not a planner. I'm not the most organized person. I'm working on it. And so you have to work on it too. It's a muscle that we haven't been flexing, right? Like it's something that it's not a habit that we've formed. So I'm working on being more organized in my business and keeping things where they're supposed to be in my business. And that's something I'm trying to form that habit. So you need to start making a habit of execution, getting things done. So the next little baby step I want you to do, and this isn't really a baby step. I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before, but you kind of have to force yourself to do it. And I know that sounds like, yeah, impossible. It's like, oh, I've tried and nothing has worked. But here's a little strategy. So if you are keep putting off the thing and you're not making a decision in your business, you just keep putting it off, tell a friend, like, hey, I'm having trouble keeping my commitment to myself to get this done. This is my due date. I have literally a week and a half or 2 weeks. Let's go with 2 weeks. It's easier to say. I have 2 weeks to make X decision. And if I don't come up with a decision by X date, so within 2 weeks, I owe you a coffee, or or help me make a decision that day. But either way, you have to hold your feet to the fire. This works really well for me personally. So that's why I have it on the list. And I understand that it might not work for everybody, but it definitely works for me. So you have to find what works for you. Also, you can make a public announcement. Not only tell a friend, tell everybody on social media, hey, I'm going to be doing whatever. So like me starting this podcast, and look forward to it on this date. And you might not be ready, but you're going to get ready because people are going to start asking you about it. And if you don't do it, people are going to be like, hey, didn't you say you were going to do this? And the sting of that is going to make you get the thing done. Trust me. Even in my group, um, sometimes I have workshops in there, and I will put the date and what the topic is, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about until like the week of. And that's just me putting it out there so I can keep that commitment to keep the ball moving forward or rolling forward, whatever. Keep it going and move that needle. So, and this also speaks to like how hard it is to really start to manage yourself. So since I left my 9 to 5 in May, I really had to learn how to manage myself. And you wouldn't think it'd be so hard, but it's just so different. It's different than what we're taught. It's different than how I've been living. So really making the decisions in my business without any input has been difficult at times. And again, that's just a habit that I'm trying to form, a muscle I'm trying to flex. So just prepare yourself for, you have to form those new habits and force yourself when necessary, and just keep going, keep going. So, and the last thing, and this isn't so much a baby step, but something I want you to realize, and this is so powerful, is that the little decisions that you make every day lead you to your goals. So let me break that down. So those little decisions. So if you told yourself, I'm going to wake up early, and you didn't get up, that is a little choice you made that didn't propel you forward. It took you in the opposite direction of your goals because you said you were going to do something. So you not getting up on time or when you wanted to is taking you the opposite direction from your goal. So say you have something on your to-do list, or you have two things on your to-do list and you don't get them done, that's taking you the opposite direction from your goals. So, and it's so easy to talk ourselves out of it. And that's something I continue to work on, like getting better every day. But we always talk ourselves out of it. So it's like, hey, I'll just do it tomorrow. Or, you know what? Like, I don't need to do that. I'm going to do something else instead. So it's those little decisions. Those are little micro decisions that we make every single day. And whether we're realizing it or not, it's either pushing us toward our goals or leading us the opposite way. And that's a really tough lesson. It's such a tough lesson. I always, when I think about the little micro decisions that I've made in the past, I'm like, man, what was I thinking? But, it's okay. It's okay. Like, we all get better every day. The older we get, the wiser we get. We're like a fine wine, ladies. At least that's what I say. Like, we're a fine wine. We get better with age. So, keep that in mind. So really start to evaluate the little decisions that you're making every single day and see if you're keeping your commitments to other people, if you're keeping your commitments even to yourself, because you come first and you have to almost show yourself like, hey, I can do this because I do X, Y, and Z every day. I'm really trying my best. So prove it to yourself and keep those commitments to yourself. Okay? Promise? All right, so to wrap that up, I really want you to start making those decisions in your business and keeping those commitments. If you are, doing all the things and having trouble making decisions, I want you to slow down and just make a couple of decisions. Like, so if you can't start with like, the month projects, that's fine. What's one project you want to get done for the week? And break that down into daily steps to get it done. Also, to keep your commitments, kind of forcing yourself to do it and making a public announcement or telling a friend is really helpful because it pushes you. Sometimes we need to be shoved, and that's like you shoving yourself. Like, hey, get your act together, girl. Like, what are you doing? So I take the approach of being shoved. And the other thing I just want you to realize is that those little decisions, those micro decisions that you're making every day is either pushing you toward your goals or taking you away from your goals. So, what are you doing with your micro decisions? Okay, that's all I have for you today. If you are on your rogue journey, I definitely want you to head over to my free community. It's Go Rogue on Facebook. You can find it at bit.ly/rogue community. And I also put that in the show notes as well. You can find me Hey Felicia Wright on Facebook. That's my username. You can check me out over there. And I really hope to see you in the community soon. If you like this show, definitely give it a review. Please share it with your peeps if you think they will enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you're enjoying the interviews that are coming out slowly. Those interviews with other rogue women are coming out on Fridays right now. And I hope you love it because I am loving it myself. So I hope you have an amazing day. Go out and slay it.